Hello, welcome to the Citrus Garden. My name is Christina. This is a reading for twin flame divine masculines, or if you don't resonate with that label, it could just be for you if you're looking to balance the masculine energies within yourself. So take it how it resonates. This reading's main focus are 3 questions. What's your current energy? How can you shift your focus? And where is an area of growth for you? So I've already pulled your cards. We're starting with the bottom of the deck energy, which we're starting off, I'm going to start with these ones actually, the tarot, because you have the first deck card on the bottom was the 4 of materials, but underneath that you have the King of Wands, Ace of Pentacles, and the Fool. So what this is telling me is that you are wanting to take action towards some sort of new start, right? With the King of Wands being sort of the action taker, but the 4 of Coins, which is talking about feeling like perhaps there's not enough of resources, right? It's like wanting to take a trip or take a vacation or do something fun, but not enough money or something like that. It doesn't have to be money, but it's not like having not enough of something that is preventing you from moving forward, or that's how it's feeling. So I feel like that's what the main focus of this energy is, of your reading today is, with this protection in the 1 card. So the protection card came out in the Divine Feminine reading as well. But it's talking about this sort of like the oneness being perhaps a collaboration or the partnership, if that's what you're focused on, like wanting to move towards something that absolutely is in alignment with you. But there's this protection of like being hunched over. And I've said about this protection energy before that it is absolutely necessary for like a short-term kind of thing to sort of get your bearings back after kind of a destabilizing event. But if it's maintained in the long term, there is sort of a negative kind of misalignment that can happen in your energy where it's like you're actually physically hunched over, like that kind of thing. And that's what this 4 of Coins is that of course you should like save your resources or have this energy of like protection of not wanting to overspend what you have. However, if this energy is maintained for a long term, in the long term, it does put you in an energy misalignment is what it's talking about. And then you have here the starfish and the bee, which is what it is that I feel like you're wanting to go towards, because the bee to me represents sort of this energy portal of joy, happiness, sweetness, collaboration, community, all that. It's like you want to move towards this bee, but you're in the starfish energy, which is kind of like feeling beached, right? Not able to move. Very sort of like quiet, dormant perhaps energy is kind of what this is feeling like. But anyway, let's get into the reading. That was just the underlying energy. The current energy of where you are now. The first one to come out is the shark, which is a very interesting energy to start with. It made me think of in the summertime. I was working at a crystal shop and I had this dream that I was swimming in a pool of sharks, right? And it was talking to me about my situation of where I was kind of in an uncomfortable environment for me personally, because the ones around me were not a match to who I am. And although they were very kind and nice people, there was a level of discomfort for me there because there was a lot of things that weren't in alignment with me, that were not similar to me, or whatever it is. And I feel like this is actually sort of a position that you are kind of like trying to move out of. Like it's like it feels kind of like a past environment. Like perhaps this was a previous relationship or a job or something that you are in the process of trying to leave behind, because it's coming through with the Devil and the 9 of Coins, which is kind of talking about, seems like, this is what it seems like, you're leaving a relationship of some sort, or some sort of contract that you were in. Like for me, it was a job that, even though there were some benefits in the end, it was taking too much of my energy because it wasn't in alignment to me or my goals. And the people that surrounding me were not a match to me at all. That kind of situation. So like having to sort of go off on your own, leave whatever this devil energy is behind, perhaps in order to move towards something else, because you have also here the sea serpent and the unicorn, which is talking about the sea serpent is the card for the sacral chakra. So something that's like very much something that you're passionate about or that you want or desire. It has to do with emotions and all that, creativity, passion, all of that sort of sacral chakra energy. But it's also coming out with the unicorn, which is funny because to me this represents something, like it feels to me for you, how I'm reading this energy today is almost like something that you didn't believe was real. Something that is almost like mythical or fantasy or not quite like it's there. Part of it is there. There's some aspect of it that has been presented to you, but it's almost like what you're seeing, you are thinking it to be some sort of mythical apparition is kind of how it's seen, because it's like everything that you want or something that you very strongly desire but did not seem like a realistic or real possibility for you in whatever way. But you have here, which is such an interesting energy to be in, because you have here the teachers and their reflection. This is why I'm saying that maybe because it's coming through the devil energy, because this teacher's card came out last in a previous reading of like, you can, if I were to ask you right now, who is your favorite teacher, you would be able to name that person and why exactly they were your favorite teacher. But because it's coming in with the devil, there's also the flip side, where if I were to ask you, who is your least favorite teacher in your history of experience, you would also be able to pull that answer up immediately and precisely why they were your least favorite teacher. And that's why I'm calling it sort of perhaps like a karmic partner, a devil energy, where this is your least favorite teacher. They taught you a lesson for sure, but it was not the lesson that you were wanting to learn, or there was difficulty in it. They weren't a match to your energy. And it's putting you in sort of this shark energy, because this card talks to me about things that are not being said. Something that, and because of that, it's like something that's hidden in the shadows that you're not wanting to sort of bring up or look at because it's painful or uncomfortable or scary in some way, or just like it's just uncomfortable, right? There's some sort of discomfort that's being stirred up by this energy that is perhaps preventing you from moving forward. And I feel like it has to do with, because it's coming out with the 9 of Coins, which is normally a really positive, sort of abundant, independent, standing on your own, having a lot of freedom, doing a lot of things that you enjoy and getting it done well, that kind of energy. But it's followed up with the King of Swords and the 3 of Swords in reverse. This is a reverse energy. And then the 10 of Swords, which is all really sort of heavy energies. The 10 of Swords talks about a really horrible ending to something, right? It could be like betrayal or dark night of the soul. It's like you experience some sort of heartbreaking energy. With the King of Swords in reverse, which perhaps is bringing out almost like a harshness within you that is not you, but that's what this is. It's like bringing out sort of the shark energy within you, which is not who you are, is kind of how it's coming through. Because perhaps this sea serpent unicorn, it doesn't have to be your counterpart. It could be that's sort of how it's feeling, like somebody or something or situation, a job opportunity, perhaps something that you want to move towards, but perhaps you feel like because the situation that you just left, that this energy is somehow deceptive, right? It's like you see this and you're thinking of the worst teacher you ever had and expecting this one to be like that. And I feel like because you have your authentic expression and abundance, which is interesting because I've often described this unicorn card as kind of like connecting the dots, right? It's like there's a lot of sort of synchronicity or strange events or sort of energetic phenomena that happens before a physical manifestation arrives in your life. And I feel like for this one, it's like they are not the cause of it. I feel like they're not causing it, but it's because they know who they are, or there's like perhaps a purity about them that allows them to sort of access energies. It's like a lot of synchronicity and magic, I'm putting in quotation, happens around this one. And it allows you to like connect the dots in some way, because this abundance card, just so interesting. It's only the second time this card has come out, but I was looking at these pearls, right, of like connecting the dots. There's something about here that it's I feel like there's something that's allowing you to connect the dots in some way about this one, about authentic expression in some way. I feel it because this shark energy is not an authentic expression. It talks about like keeping some aspect hidden, and because of that the hiding aspect, it becomes a problem that needs to be almost released, right? That kind of thing. It's like it's making a bigger deal out of something that should not be a big deal. And I feel like that's what is wanting to be shifted in your energy, because you are coming out with the Seven of Materials and the Hierophant, because I feel like there is a desire for you to move towards this one, but perhaps you're just wrapping up a really sort of messy situation is kind of how it's feeling. For me, like, because it's coming out the shark, I was thinking of just that the situation after I had that shark dream, it actually made me or pushed me to leave that job, because I knew I was uncomfortable there, but I couldn't understand why. And the reason being was because it was putting me in an energy that was not authentic to myself. So I didn't belong there. But there's always sort of the fear of like leaving a job. Like you don't want to leave something that provides income or anything like that kind of energy. And so I feel like you are leaving because you're recognizing that the environment you are in is putting you in an inauthentic expression of yourself. But that does take preparation, is kind of what this is talking about, because you have the Seven of Coins, which talks about like making preparations, or you've planted the seeds and sort of waiting for them to play out, that kind of thing. And the Hierophant, which talks about like following your inner guidance or discovering some sort of key piece of information that will allow you to unlock some sort of future event, is kind of how this is feeling. So it's like, I feel like you are moving towards this one, or moving towards abundance, right? Like you may be leaving one job and going to a different job. There could be something like that, but it's like the new job hasn't arrived yet or something. It's like you're leaving a previous situation before you've actually found the next job, is kind of how it feels like. Or something like that, right? That's just an example. Okay, I'm gonna leave that section there, and move towards how it is that you can shift your focus. So we have here the nightingale and the bat, which is so interesting because as I was just saying that thing, like you're leaving some opportunity or relationship or contract of some sort, or devil energy, which just could be patterns, right? A pattern of behavior that you're leaving behind without knowing what's coming next. But all of this energy. It's the unicorn energy, which talks about the third eye, right? Things that you can see or sense, but not with your physical senses, right? And that's sort of emphasized with the bat here, of like, you are absolutely receiving sort of guidance or a direction to go in through your non-physical senses. You could be really opening up the third eye as well. So you're moving towards something that is absolutely calling you with the nightingale. It's like a call, and I see this as being like a call, the nightingale. Something is pulling you towards it, and the bat as being a response, right? Flying towards or moving towards an energy that is pulling on your non-physical senses in some way, right? It's like sonar. Somehow they're pulling on you, but it's like you're not perhaps consciously aware of it, or they're not physically in your environment in some way. And it's just sort of blindly following this cue, which is absolutely necessary. I feel like that's really important for you to sort of develop these non-physical senses, is kind of how it's coming through. And then you also have here the otter and the buffalo. This buffalo I often see as being sort of like the high priestess in a very masculine representation, like acting on sort of the information that they know. And you have here the high priestess here. So I feel like this is the energy that you are moving towards, but at the same time, you are also developing within yourself, right? The ability to follow your inner guidance with the Hierophant, following your inner guidance, perhaps just being curious and like moving towards things that draw your attention for whatever reason, even if they kind of break your natural inclinations or patterns, right? Like moving towards things that are different and new, but are absolutely drawing your attention and in some way, right? Regardless of like why it is you understand that consciously, why it is you're unconsciously drawn to something, following that, because there is absolutely information and guidance for you to go towards. And with this otter here, this could be seen two ways, because the otter is always interesting in that it comes with sort of this like spotlight. It's like you may be experiencing things in your life where suddenly something in your environment just feels like there's a spotlight put on it, like it's like being highlighted in some way, and you don't know why, because it's not like it's like necessarily different or like it's not obvious why you're being drawn to it, but there's absolutely something there for you to learn, is kind of what it's feeling like. And I feel like you are absolutely putting the pieces together of like connecting the dots. Perhaps you're getting sort of like this big picture look at why it is you've picked the things that you chose in the past, or the people that you were drawn to, relationships you've had, the jobs that you've been in, why you were drawn to those things, and now putting together the big picture of connecting the dots. Like, you know those like puzzles where you like follow the numbers, the numbered dots, and at the end it creates a big picture. I feel like you're in that big picture in space where the picture is about to be revealed. The key piece of information that you're needing is going to be revealed, and it's creating a very significant change in sort of your energies, kind of how this is feeling. But you're coming out with these 3 cards here because there's something else. The other message with this otter and the buffalo was that I feel like you are wanting to move towards your counterpart in some way, because all of this sort of energy of like the shark, of not saying something that needs to be said, that needs to be expressed, I feel like that is what you are working towards in some way, right? Like you're trying, perhaps preparing yourself or working up the energy to sort of, or the words or the method of moving towards your counterpart to express something. But for some reason, it's feeling like you're being put on the spot, or anticipating perhaps that whoever it is you're going towards, it might not be a counterpart, it might just be a person in your life that has that there's been sort of difficulty with, perhaps, right? Somebody in your life that you're wanting to sort of make amends with is kind of how it's feeling. Perhaps anticipating that there will be an anger response, because that's sort of how I'm feeling the thunder, is being like angry or righteous or not receptive, right? But what you have here is these 3 cards. The Maktub, which is the cosmic remote control. You're at a significant choice point, about to choose some sort of option. Then you have compassion and deja vu. So this deja vu card is so interesting. It's coming out 2 messages. So first of all, the way I talk about this cosmic remote control is that sometimes if you pick one option, right? There's no such thing as a wrong option. You pick an option, it perhaps doesn't end in the way that you anticipate, but there is always sort of a lesson to be learned there, even if that lesson is sort of like, don't pick that option again, right? And then once you get through that lesson or have that experience, you return back to this checkpoint to see whether or not you've actually absorbed or learned the lesson of like not choosing that thing. Because I feel like there was some sort of ending or pattern that you're trying to rewrite or leave behind of some sort. And it's like you're at this checkpoint again, which is why it's coming through with the deja vu, where it's like you're being asked to choose something different using sort of your inner guidance Hierophant energy of like perhaps just choosing things that make you happy or have sort of like a glow about them, or that for some reason pull on your intuition in a way that you can't sort of ignore it, is kind of how this is feeling to me, because there is significance there even if you're not fully seeing the full picture yet. It's like you're at dot number 25 and then moving to dot number 26. It's a natural sort of progression or movement. There is a sort of reason to it, but you can't see what the full picture is yet. Okay, and this deja vu is also coming through with this, the energy of, there is sort of an energetic phenomenon that happens where you will get information in sort of a non-resistant state if you meditate, or if you have like a very rich dream world, so that kind of thing, where you receive information in that non-resistant state as almost like a preview to prepare you for some sort of event that will happen in the physical, where it's like the deja vu is happening where that preview, it's like a trailer, right? Seeing a trailer and then actually going to see the movie, you have a general idea of what that movie is going to be about or how it's going to play out. And this is now the chance where you're actually going to watch the movie. It's like that you saw the preview, you saw the trailer, and now actually going to watch the movie. And the movie is about compassion. I feel like you may want to watch the Divine Feminine reading, because the second part of that is called the Compassionate Warrior. And there's all this energy in that. I feel like it may be about you, but I feel like it may be about somebody else. But it's almost like there's something in there for you to learn, I feel like. Okay, anyways, so it's coming out with compassion because, as I was saying with this buffalo, it's like I feel like you are anticipating perhaps this sort of anger or righteousness or some sort of response that you are feeling uncomfortable with. But I feel like you're going to be met with compassion. Anyways, I'm just going to leave that there because it's bringing in the message from the last Divine Masculine reading, which I don't want to bring into. But let's move on to the tarot. So you have the Seven of Wands, which always talks to me about like, this one specifically talks to me about like holding something off, right? It's like because it's too bright, or it's like avoiding something because you're not wanting to deal with it at the moment. Or it could even be this thing where it's like with the hands out, it's kind of like something that you saw in advance or like something that you saw in advance is now sort of happening. It's like perhaps you're coming to a specific time and place. And it's almost like perhaps feeling a bit resistant to that, but, or maybe not resistant, because you have the 6 of coins, which talks about a long-term investment for me. Perhaps this is a moment that you've been waiting for a while. There's like a certain alignment of events or a certain time and place that you're waiting for, because you have here the 8 of coins, right? And the 7 of coins was as well. There's 6, 7, and 8 of coins. So a natural progression. I feel like perhaps this was the deja vu event where it's like you perhaps you planned this. Perhaps there was like a planning that a set of actions that you put into motion a while ago, perhaps a year ago, where it's now like you're in the preparation stage of whatever this 8 of coins is, which it always talks to me as like putting in the final piece, right? The big picture, the final sort of thing that is here. And I feel like that's what you're preparing for, perhaps. Perhaps this 7 of wands might also be kind of like anxiety. That's sort of how it feels, like having to sort of like really quiet the monkey mind of like telling yourself that it's gonna be okay, right? Like the ending is going, or not the ending, the whatever this moment is that you're waiting for is going to work out how you want it to. Okay. I'm going to pause there. I have 3 more cards for this section, but I'm going to move to the extended. So you can go watch that immediately after this. It's posted right after. I do have other videos if you're interested in watching. Thanks so much for sharing your energy with me, and I hope I'll see you in the next one. Bye.